Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about how to manifest your dream life. In one of my previous video I made, I talked about how if you stop trying, then that's when you get everything that you want. And the reason that that works so well is because generally, when you set your mind to something, when you want something like that next step in your life, generally you will get it. So if you're after like a certain career or a certain person or whatever it is that you're chasing after, that feels to you like the next natural step in your life, usually you get it because once it's been on your mind for a while, once you've like put your focus and your intentions on it for a while, maybe you take some actions to get there, whatever. You're in the right headspace, so you meet the right people and you get what you want. That's usually kind of like the natural way that things progress. But if for some reason you've been thinking about something for a really, really long time, maybe you're even like obsessed about it, or maybe it's like the thing that you want the most and it just like hasn't happened for whatever reason. Well, the whatever reason is because there's most likely some kind of resistance going on. And I often find that with most people, the resistance part, the biggest thing that holds you back is you thinking or believing, maybe even subconsciously deep down, that you are not deserving of it, or that you're not worthy, you're not good enough to get it. And a lot of this can be just like programming that's been done since you were a child. You know, people aren't born with like these limiting beliefs systems. They're not born with like these negative like mindsets about who they are, negative self-identity. It's ingrained into you, right? It's programmed into you by like your parents, society, your family, your friends. And a lot of that, like, it still amazes me to this day how much of that is like subconscious and how much it keeps coming up and up if you don't like address it and deal with it. So one of my favorite ways to address that and to get over that is sort of reprogramming. So I'll listen to videos on YouTube that just kind of like reprograms your subconscious, like things like that. You can also like watch content, people who like inspire you. So maybe you want to like, I don't know, be a business owner or something like that. Then watch content of people who are business owners. Make friends, make connections with people who own businesses. Basically, you want to immerse yourself in that. Or maybe you have like a dream house you want. Instead of just like looking at it on Zillow, go to an open house, like walk around, talk to the people who like potentially want to buy this house as well. Really immerse yourself in it as much as you possibly can, because the more you do that, the more you're letting go of like the old identity of that version of you that doesn't think you belong or that you deserve it or that you are worthy. And the more you kind of embrace this new identity, the easier it will be for you to let go of the old one. And that's why when you have limiting beliefs and you watch those videos that like reprogram your subconsciousness, it's usually just like someone saying positive affirmations over and over again, because it's easier to just adopt a new belief, adopt a new identity, than to try and like fix the old one, if that makes sense. And then to add on to what I was saying about why you need to like stop trying. So in order to get what you want, what you actually want to do, it's very important, is to think from the point where you already have it. So imagine you already have the thing. Imagine you no longer like are so desperate for it. You're no longer like needing it or wanting it because you already have it. And then you want to envision and imagine like you at that point in time. It's like, what's next? What's after that? And you want to get into that mindset, because as soon as you embrace that sort of reality of like, oh, I already have it, I don't want it anymore, I don't need it anymore because I already have it, that is a really strong technique of getting what you want, because you're able to let go of all of the resistance. Like if you already have it, then you don't have like all these emotions tied to it, like all this emotional baggage tied to it. There's no like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve it, like am I gonna get it, is it gonna come to me? You're able to let go and release all of that because you're in the mindset of, oh, it already happened, I already have it. So think about next steps, right? Think about what you want to do from that point. It's like, now what? And doing that will put you in a very positive space for attracting what you actually want. And that's why when you're visualizing, people tell you to do it in the present form, like, I already have it, I'm so grateful for having it, or like, it already happened, I'm so grateful that I already had it, I already got it, right? And another thing I want to touch on, which I have talked a lot about before, is that the mind will find any ways to justify what you already believe in and to support your belief. So if your current beliefs are not serving you, you need to make sure that you're letting those go and adopting new belief systems. If you've ever known like a friend or a family member who is in like a bad negative situation, but they, no matter how much like people around them were telling them to get out of the situation, they would just not listen and would just stay and like suffer. That is a perfect example of how your mind will find ways, it'll find excuses, any excuses at all, to reaffirm what you already believe in. So if that story, if that belief is no longer serving you, then adopt a new one. And with repetition, with affirmations, journaling, scripting, you will be able to convince yourself that that is your new belief system. And then at that point, your mind will find ways to back that up. So if you have, if you're writing an affirmation for the first time and you're writing something like, I am successful, or I am in an amazing relationship, or something like that. And when you're first writing it, it just sounds so weird to you because you're like, I don't even believe this at all. That's okay. That little discomfort is actually a good sign, because it's like you're finally taking the first step and it feels uncomfortable. But the more you do it, the more you're actually going to start to believe it, and it's gonna be amazing to you how with repetition you're gonna start to believe these things, and then you're gonna start to see things manifest in your life that reaffirm this belief. Because again, your mind, even if it's irrational, will find ways to back this up. So make sure that you're using this to your advantage. And one of my favorite ways to kind of get out of a slump, or if I'm in a rut, or if I'm feeling like down and negative and hopeless, is to reflect back on something that I've already manifested, or to reflect back on a low point in my life and remember that I was able to get myself out of it, like that it did pass. Or remember that I was able to manifest something that I wanted, even though maybe it was difficult at first, or maybe it took a long time, but at one point I did get what I want. So kind of remembering these moments of little wins, or when you were able to get out of a rut or out of a negative time or a negative bad situation, it's going to help you build a more positive self-image. So that repetition is key. In my like daily journaling, a couple of things that I've added was positive memories. And the reason I did that was to kind of reaffirm how many blessings I have in my life, how grateful I am, because I do have an amazing life. So if you are someone who is kind of like struggling with feeling hopeless or feeling like you're stuck, I would recommend adding a couple of times where you were able to get out of a negative situation, where you won, where you manifested something that you wanted. Even if it's small, it's about doing it every single day, and it's about, again, that repetition. It's going to reaffirm your new identity. So I would highly recommend doing that. At first when you're doing it, it might feel weird, but the more you do it, the more you're gonna start to see like little miracles pop up in your life. And again, it's all just gonna reaffirm this positive new identity. Okay, that's it for today's little video. I hope that you liked it. If you did, make sure that you hit the like button. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Bye!